it was so funny to see them get excited and have it be something that could be an educational tool that they were excited about, because a lot of times I have my students saying, oh, I don't want to come to school, I don't care if I fail. And it's like, if they had this in their classroom, I could totally see it being something where they were suddenly enthusiastic about coming to school and trying.
They have to use all of these skills that we're assessing in our classroom on a day-to-day basis, and they have to actually apply it to do this. But they're not applying it to some boring assignment that, the teacher just decided to give them. They're applying it to something that is going to have future value in their eyes, because they're going to be playing this character in the game. And so to me as a teacher, I could see how they're going to be significantly more invested in doing this and accomplishing the same goals that they would be if I'm just pushing out a boring article to them. So, for me, the educational value was clearly there.
This is a lot of informational text, and I know historically when we test our kids in that criteria for the state testing, our kids struggle with that, and so that reading for information and processing informational text is difficult. So this is a really fun way to help kind of break down, well, how do we find information, how do we apply it, how do we read a chart, how do we map out a plan, how do we read data. That's all part of learning this game.
I definitely have seen the enthusiasm that students bring to it when they talk about it in Mr. Wells's class, and when they talk about it in the after-school clubs and things like that. And I guess I've never met a kid that doesn't have a lot of fun doing it. And I think it just kind of naturally comes about because of all the creativity that the kids are allowed, and because of all the freedom that the kids are allowed to really kind of express themselves through their characters.
That ability for the kids to kind of not have to be kind of put in a box of how they think and why they think and where they have to think. And as kids, they get that all day long in school. This is what we're learning now, and this is how you're going to learn it, and you need to know it because it's going to be on a test. I think finally they have a chance to learn something that becomes really meaningful in being able to actually utilize it right then and there and help each other out and, create something beautiful and fun as they're doing it.
Anybody who's hesitant to try it needs to play themselves first before they say it's not going to work in my room, it's not for me, it doesn't make any sense, has nothing to do with education. Try it one time.
So the stigma is something that we have to make sure that we overcome, because once people understand what it is, they grab onto it. An example that I'm going to give you is that early on in Mr. Wells' time at North Middle School, we had a couple of parents that heard that he was going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons with the kids, and they were like, whoa, wait a minute, I don't know what this is, I don't want to do this. And the beautiful part about it is that they gave him a chance. He talked to them about it. He communicated with them what it was, why we were doing it. And then as soon as the parents started to see the growth that their kids had, socially, on standardized assessments, in every single content area, nothing but positives. Those parents grabbed onto it, they've latched onto it, and after 3 years of being in this classroom, the parents love him, the kids love him, the parents love the game, and they're even organizing outside school gaming sessions during the summer, making sure that this growth continues.
I would say the character creation process was I would say it was difficult to start, but once you dove into it, it was a lot of fun. There's so many possibilities, and the character I created was based on former video games that I had played, like Skyrim and RPG games like that, so kind of based it off of that and what would fit my play style the best.
They finally get to do anything they want. There's so many different options. When it comes to school, we put them in this box, like you have this option or this option, but you never have all the different aspects that come with Dungeons and Dragons.
Character creation entailed a lot of decisions, but I think that's really good because it really deepens the character, and the ones that I made for my character was ones that I identified with the most. And now having experienced the character, I'm really excited to see what the other characters offer and then trying to find ways to connect with them.
I had a little, I don't know what you want to call it, a
insider look, because my advisory class I see every day are advanced kiddos that get to see Mr. Wells on a daily basis. So I was picking their brains, and the fact that they thought that was really cool, they're like, oh, you're playing this? What? And I was like, yeah, like I'm thinking of going this. And they're like, oh, well, if you do this race, then you'll really want to do da 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 da. And the amount of enthusiasm that they gave me was incredible.
I remember the 2 sessions we had with character creation. I was exhausted mentally after doing it. Like there were so many decisions to make, and each one of them like affected how your character is created and like plays in the game. And it was just like, it was a lot of pressure, but it was so much fun. And I could see like how awesome that would be in a classroom, because there was so much reading and like referring to charts, and then, you know, comprehending, okay, how is this decision going to affect my character, and how is that going to affect how I play the game, and so on and so forth. So the character creation part to me was extremely fun and valuable because of like how brain intensive it was.
There's so many options. There's so many options. I decided to be a high moon elf wizard, which was a lot more difficult than I thought it was. But I chose it specifically because it was more difficult, and I hope to start my own D&D club at the high school. And since I'm hoping to do that, I figured if I know the most difficult role, it'll be easier for me to guide students in that role. And then as time goes on, I'll continue to learn more roles and continue to be able to guide people through the different roles that they want to try.
I talk to the people around me, I talk to my child just to get some ideas. So I think just that being able to talk to the other people was really helpful. I think that's a great way, and as a teacher in class, when kids can have that discourse and share and talk. I think part of me being a cleric was I wanted to be a healer, and then the other part was also with the people that were in my group, kind of making sure we all kind of complemented each other in different ways. So it was like this multi-layered decision that ended up me being a poor cleric elf.
The way I kind of chose my character was based off of, if I were playing this game, what would I want to be? And the fact that I got that choice was a huge proponent, because I got to have that choice, and seeing students get the choice to do things really allows them to put more heart and love into it. And I loved being able to put myself, so seeing this in the student aspect would be so much fun.
Taking a risk can be difficult in education, particularly in today's world. Educators are constantly under scrutiny. Educators are constantly being asked to do more. And the reality is that the most effective instruction happens when it occurs naturally, when it occurs organically, when we're able to be ourselves in the classroom. Because at the end of the day, what is education about? It's about building relationships. It's about connecting with others. And this game facilitates that for not only students, but staff, administrators, the entire learning community. And when you can do that on a daily basis and make learning fun, you can do your job more effectively. And it doesn't feel like a job at that point.
In a way, the fact that the bonding was happening through the characters, again, kind of almost gives like a sense of safety, that like you don't have to be completely vulnerable in the sense that it's your character doing these things, but at the same time you're acting through your character. And so it really, I guess, made for kind of a nice way to get to know people. And to, I mean, you know, I was playing with coworkers that some of them I've worked with for 4 or 5 years, and yet getting to know them and their personalities much better through this. And then I think too, like anytime you're just having fun and being sociable with people, I think that's definitely going to create bonds, and, you know, just through the shared experience of having fun and camaraderie and laughter and things like that. It definitely would be a bonding and a team building experience for kids.
Especially when you've got a group of kids that don't normally interact, being put into a situation where they've got a common goal or a common task and they're all working together. They form relationships in class, and then, you know, seeing each other out in the hallways, they're going to say, hey, nice job doing the thing. And I think it helps that, you know, overall school culture, communication, and being able to connect with people beyond just what you're doing with them in the classroom.
It is absolutely rewarding, even especially with students who might not hang out a lot together in other classes. I mean, they're fighting bugbears and really getting into it as a team. Not only that, but when it is your turn, you have to think of the whole team. It's not just what would my character do, but how would my team think about this? Am I helping? Or maybe you don't want to help, but it definitely is all part of relationship building.
Whether they're working or whether it's another classroom, they're going to have group activities, or they're going to work with other people that are going to have different set of skills, and being able to match or complement each other with their different skills will be very helpful. And recognizing that now is definitely something that's going to be helpful for them in the future, kind of seeing like, okay, what can I bring to the table? And what can you bring to the table? How can we work together to make this end goal work?
Doing this game would honestly give the opportunity for students to integrate into different groups. And I think that when they integrate into different groups, the best part about that is that it can create a much better atmosphere in your school. It can foster an atmosphere where you're able to completely be yourself and be accepted. And that is something that is very rare, especially in the middle school and high school grades.
I was definitely at a table with some other teachers that I usually don't interact very much with, but then by the end of this, we were laughing at each other's jokes. We just knew who each other's characters were, and I think that first table read really helps break the ice for that.
I think I grew when I first started playing with them, because it just helped me connect more easily with people and be open with just talking and being myself. It's a really enjoyable game to play with your friends. It helps you create long-lasting friendships. It helps you connect with people that you wouldn't usually connect with. So it's just really fun.
My son had this really great opportunity when he entered Harrisburg North Middle School of just getting partnered with a teacher that changed everything for him as a student. He really can struggle academically, although he is very intelligent. And coming across Mr. Wells as his teacher and the ability to play Dungeons & Dragons has 100% transformed him and his educational journey. He has struggled from kindergarten just to even go to school on a daily basis, and now he is excited to go to school. He was able to develop friendships through playing the game and campaigns, and because he has such high intelligence but struggles to perform in an academic setting, this gave him a setting in which his creativity and his knowledge and his abilities could really shine.
It combined so many different disciplines. I mean, there was English language aspects, there was mathematical aspects, there was almost kind of some geography aspects with the maps and the models and things like that. And so it was like we were constantly jumping between disciplines. We were constantly having to try to remember and reference things. We were constantly trying to have to use charts and use maps and graphs and different stuff like that. And so I think when I came into it, I probably thought more like, oh, we're essentially playing like a board game or a tabletop game. And the amount of really in-depth, academically rigorous activities really surprised me a lot.
You're reading text, you're reading a chart, you're reading a map, you're taking that information, you're applying it, and then you're using it. That skill is so directly transferable into the world of standardized assessments. And in the world of assessments that teachers are creating, that school districts are creating, that textbook companies are creating, it applies everywhere.
I think D&D helped my test scores because it just helped me learn. Informational texts aren't that bad. After I read all the players' handbooks, I realized they can be interesting to read too. It doesn't have to be all just creative writing is all that I can read, but I can also read informational and learn how to do something in instructional learning.
It's using their resources and knowing how to use their resources. Like when I say, okay, well, here's a new concept, go Google it, go see. Because eventually these kiddos aren't going to have someone, holding their hand all the way through life. So I'm like, you have resources around you, you need to use them. And that's the same concept with the D&D book.
You can't do that in video games because they only allow so many different paths. And D&D just provides so many different layers to what you can do.
Being able to do something that creates team building and, works my mind and is very intelligent, is something that you can't really replace. There's nothing that you can do to replace that kind of an experience.
As educators, the best thing we can do is provide the skills that students need to be effective communicators, to be able to think critically, to be able to work with others, to be able to face challenging situations that maybe push them to be outside of their comfort zone. It doesn't matter what profession somebody's going to go into, what challenges they're going to face in life. Those are all skills that they need to have and that need to be readily accessible.
You take students like my own son, Lucas, who is in 8th grade and has had the absolute honor of being in Mr. Wells' classes for 3 years now, where he came out of 5th grade and he had a tough time stringing more than a word or two together when he was speaking to other people. At home, no problem. He talks his mouth off. But now, this kid, he goes into a room and he is just pop, 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 firing them off. He is using the skills that he got for speaking, listening, and interacting with his peers every single day. Like I said before, the growth has been exponential.
For me, the biggest thing is just a different way to bring reading for information into the classroom. That's something, as an English teacher myself, that's something we're always looking to do. We want to find new ways for kids to read and comprehend information and show their comprehension of that information and have an application for it. That's not just boring, it's not just the same thing over and over with a little bit different content. We want something that's going to engage our students and get them drawn into it. And this, for me, was the big takeaway. This is something that it's a game, but it has those applications and at a high level. Okay, something that's going to challenge students, but also not be so much that they're pushed away from it. They want to succeed, so they're going to want to understand this information and grow as best they can so they can be as successful as possible.
Education doesn't just have to be hammering facts and numbers and statistics and rules and stuff like that into kids. There's definitely some opportunities to really let them explore their personality and explore relationships with others and working together with others, and that you can take something that on its surface maybe seems like it doesn't have a direct connection, and you can definitely find ways to make it fit your curriculum and really be beneficial to your students.
I think the first instructional practice that I'm going to take back to my own classroom is it's okay to go outside the box and have fun. It's okay to pair kids together who don't normally get along and just kind of see what happens, break the mold a little bit. I think that just trying new things is so great from this.
I got to learn something new, and that's fun to me. I'm a teacher. I love learning new things. So I'm going to miss the time that I get with my colleagues.
I found incredible value and very easily measured skill sets within the teachers that partook in the professional development. Because number one, they were exposed to, particularly the members on the team that Kade serves on, they were able to see what the kids were doing within his class, whereas, oftentimes being in a classroom, you're isolated, you're kind of an island, but taking that professional development lets them get in the mind of Kade and in the mind of the kids and lets them see why the engagement in his class is so incredible. And secondarily, why his scores have just continued to grow every single year. We looked at these kids in the 6th grade and their scores were already up here when it comes to NWEA and Smarter Balanced. And I didn't think there was any way that I was going to be able to see the growth. But every year, year after year, consistently, we keep on seeing these kids grow.
When you have a knowledgeable teacher in place who knows how to work with students, how to ask the right questions, how to engage them in conversation, they're building those literacy skills and communication skills on a regular basis each and every time they step into this new environment.
Most surprised by just the amount of things that you could do with it in the classroom. As an English teacher, as an EL teacher, I think of just descriptive writing and the ability to really help them hone language and just make it an exciting thing that would help their writing overall, because descriptive writing can then be transferred to descriptive narrative writing, descriptive research writing. It can be translated into any of the types of writing that are on their standards. But then even like doing math is there, doing like all these different subjects is there. So I think that as far as how I see it as an educator, I think there are like an endless amount of possibilities that you could use it in the classroom for.
Your kids that might be more fly on the wall type kids that don't really speak up during class, this might be something where, you know, they really excel at, and so they take over more of a leadership role that you wouldn't expect out of them in any other class, and maybe humble some of those kids that are chatty and try to take over the conversation. And so you can see that role reversal. I could see that happening.
By the end, I was ready to kill some goblins, and I was ready to huzzah, like make my way through and speak up more. And from a teaching standpoint, when you have that kiddo that sits in the corner and doesn't really say a whole lot, and they're kind of immersed into this game that allows them to do more than just a game, become an amazing person that they are. It's just kind of tucked away, or a student that they are. It allows them to have that highway to become that person and that student.
I think it was really enjoyable to be in Mr. Wells's class and just like be given D&D to play with, because I was surprised at first because I thought, this is game, how is it supposed to help me in real life? But I realized it really teaches you problem solving and how to like work your way around issues with people and how to just work together as a team. It was really surprising, but it was fun.
As someone who's never played it, I had no idea how fun it could be. So I could see how kids would really relate to it. But then under that layer of, oh, we're playing a game or we're having fun, they're making decisions on their behalf, on the behalf of a group. And as educators, it's that critical thinking piece that is so hard to teach, that we're constantly trying to grasp for, and we're constantly trying to get kids to be able to think and process and plan ahead for other scenarios that aren't yet there.
This culture building is just fantastic. I did not know what to expect going into this experience, playing with coworkers, and but even for me, I came in a little close-minded, but then by the end I was like, this is cool. I did not expect this to go as great as it did, and it was an awesome experience.
It was fun, and the camaraderie, it was such a good thing, you know. Get done with in the middle of the school week, it's kind of dragging, you're feeling it. Boom, Wednesday hits, we have Dungeons and Dragons after school. It's such a good time, and like, you know, tired, exhausted. Once we got in here, we got rolling. No way. It was fun. That was the fastest hour and a half of my life every single week, guaranteed.